All right, yesterday we were solving equations with integers. Today we're going to be looking at inequalities with integers. Not much different from the inequalities we've already solved and learned how to do. This time, though, we're going to be having some negative numbers in there. All right, so if we're going to add and subtract to solve our inequalities, you'll solve the inequality and then graph it just like you did before using what we've learned now about integers. So let's say we have w plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 1. To get our w all alone, we're going to need to subtract 3 from each side. So minus 3 and minus 3. Our w is going to be less than or equal to negative 1 minus 3, both negative numbers, so we're going to need to add them. 1 and 3 is 4. Both of them are negative, so it's going to be negative. So our w is going to be less than or equal to negative 4. So let's graph that. We have our graph here. We're going to go to negative 4. It is less than or equal to, so it is going to be a solid dot. And we're going to draw our arrow this way. So any w that is less than negative 4 will answer this inequality. Let's try another one. We have n minus 6 is greater than negative 5. So we need to get our n all alone. To do that, we need to move our minus 6 over to the other side. It is minus over here next to the n, so we're going to have to add 6. And add 6 to this side. That's going to give us n is greater than. We have a negative 5 and a positive 6, so we have to subtract those. And we're going to keep the positive since the 6 is positive and it is the larger number. N is greater than 1, so we have an open circle because it is not greater than or equal to, and our line is going to go this way. Don't make fun of my beautiful graph, people. Now, when you're multiplying and dividing while you're solving inequalities, the rules are a little bit different. And often, mistakes are made when you're solving an inequality if you forget to flip the sign. So if you multiply or divide by a negative number, so for example, here we've got this 3 is greater than 1, which you should know. But let's say we multiplied both the 3 and the 1 by a negative 2. That would give us a negative 6 and a negative 2. Well, negative 2 is greater than negative 6. So I want you to see that this sign flips when we multiply by a negative 2, and it has to change directions. So we go from being a greater than to a less than. Same thing by division. So if we have negative 4 is less than or equal to 12, which we know, if we divide both of these by negative 4 divided by negative 4 is a 1. And 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. But we can see that 1 is greater than negative 3. So we have to flip the sign. When you're adding and subtracting, you do not flip the sign. When you're multiplying and dividing, you must flip your sign. You have to reverse it right here. You have to reverse it. So let's try it. We have 2d is greater than 12. So when we solve that, we're going to divide by 2. Are we dividing by a negative 2? No. Our sign needs to stay the same. So we're going to have d is greater than 6. But if we're dividing by a negative 2 here on this one, we have negative 2d is greater than 12. And we're dividing by a negative number. That negative has to flip our sign. So it would be d is less than negative 6. All right, we're going to try this one. To get our y alone, we're going to need to get rid of this 2. And even though the negative is out in front right here, assume, or let's say, because our y needs to be positive, if we just multiplied by 2, we would still have a negative, and we'd have to get rid of that negative. So let's multiply by negative 2, because a negative 2 divided by a negative 2 is going to be a positive 1. So we're going to multiply both sides by negative 2. So we'll have y, flip the sign, so y is greater than or equal to negative 10. So when we graph that, we're going to go down here to our negative 10. It is an equal to, so it is going to be a solid dot. And our y, our line, is going to point in that direction over here. I'm not going to take it all the way across because that's not what's important. Just remember, when you multiply and divide by a negative number, you must reverse the sign.